you'd better make sure you don't miss any of those QuickTime events.
So why do we hate QuickTime events?
Who says we hate QuickTime events?
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to QuickTime Event Episode 15, brought to you by Middle of Nowhere Gaming. I'm your host and Nintendo Ninja, Lou Cataldi. Sitting to my metaphorical left is our very own strong Finch, Shawn Richards. How you doing today, Shawn?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Awesome. What are you playing?
I'm playing Battlefield Hardline.
Battlefield Hardline. Great. But we have multiple people here, so let me get to that. Last but not least, on our list of two people, so I guess second, is on for the first time. We have Mong's freelance graphic designer and Nintendo enthusiast, Bullet Bill Holston.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm doing well. If you don't know Bill, he's been doing here or there, some graphic design stuff. He actually designed the QuickTime event logo, so he helped birth this project.
Well, just the least I could do.
This is your baby, kind of.
Yeah, not my baby. It's just, take it how you want, but it's the product of my hand.
He's the godmother.
Yeah, okay, the godmother. Does that make me the what am I doing? I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. We know what QuickTime event is. If you've been listening for a while, you know what QuickTime event is. But there's going to be some brand new people on for the show. Shawn, can you explain what QuickTime event is?
Sure thing, Lou. For those of you who are uninitiated, QuickTime event is our topical podcast where we basically sit down, have a time limit, and we talk about a certain topic. Now, usually we are very long-winded people. We could go on and on for hours, but for you listeners at home, we are keeping this discussion to how long, Lou?
I think we're going to keep this one to 10 minutes.
All right, so we're going to talk about 10 minutes about some strange things Nintendo has been doing. Specifically, they're going mobile, guys.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. We have a little bit of multiple Nintendo news. We have two different stories. The first one, of course, is the mobile one. Just as some background to this, we'll give the news. During a press conference only 2 days ago, Satoru Iwata announced a new deal with DNA to bring Nintendo IP to mobile platforms. For years, Nintendo has claimed that they were not planning on moving into the mobile market. However, this new direction is clearly from a variety of different factors. DNA is one of the most prolific Japanese mobile developers, and they've been developing games for Transformers and Marvel, to name a few other IP that they've worked on. So, that's the news. We have some discussion topics. Are you ready with the timer, Bill?
I am ready.
All right, so 3, 2, 1. All right, first and foremost, what does everyone feel about this move? Do you think that why do you think it was done? And are you okay with the decision?
I'm okay with Nintendo moving on to mobile platforms. When some people talked about the partnership that they have with DNA, which is the mobile developer that they've started to work with, people have stated that this is kind of less than credible. They've done a lot of free-to-play stuff, but I believe that if Nintendo is taking the helm on this, that they can do some really cool stuff with it. A lot of people have dismissed Nintendo, saying that they've made some kind of odd choices with their hardware, with some of their software. But I believe that they are the touchscreen kings right now, especially with the Wii U and 3DS.
Right. What do you think, Bill? Do you like it?
At first, I wasn't a huge fan of the idea, but after giving it some thought, usually I'm a skeptic when it comes to any sort of move that Nintendo makes. But if history has taught me anything, is that whatever Nintendo does in the long run, it generally turns out to be a great idea that is innovative and groundbreaking. And when it comes to putting games on mobile devices, especially games that are as prolific as Nintendo, I think it's an interesting move that could fare out pretty well down the line.
Right. Going to the question, why was it done? I'm pretty sure we can say without a doubt that this was done for the Japanese markets. They have been done with console gaming for a while. They're not picking up the Wii U. They're not picking up the PS4. They're certainly not picking up the Xbox One. They're there playing mobile devices and handheld devices, but mostly mobile devices. So Nintendo always is geared towards their Japanese market and always wants to go with that. I don't think this means, it certainly doesn't mean the end of Nintendo console gaming, but it's a smart business decision. That's why their stock went up 21%.
I also think that it's not just for the Japanese market, it's also for, I'm going to say, the more adult market, the people who don't have time to sit down for 2 to 3 hours on end and play a Mario game. They usually play games on their phone for like 5 minutes on the train or 10 minutes while waiting for a meeting. I think that they're appealing to another market, and I feel like this is a good decision.
Right. Speaking about those games, let's move on to a question about the games. We don't know what they're bringing. They said they're going to bring over their IP, but they're not going to bring over games as in ports. So they're going to make completely new games to fit mobile platforms. What IP or what games do you want to see Nintendo bring?
Well, I think I can tell you one thing that I don't want to see. I don't want to see anything that's really been tried and exhausted before, like Farmville or Candy Crush. If they tap into any sort of genre like that, I might lose a little bit of hope.
What about the ones that already exist, though? Because they already have a Pokemon Candy Crush kind of game.
Oh, yeah, that one.
I forget what the name of that is.
Yeah.
Shawn, do you know?
No, it was on 3DS. I don't know. But I agree with Bill on this one. I don't want to see something that's been, hammered out over and over. I feel like, they have several IP at their disposal. They can do something really innovative, something we haven't seen before.
Right. Yeah, so we said what we don't want to see. I'd personally love to see a Fire Emblem game. I said this on the podcast, on the Mong podcast, last time we talked about it, but I think Fire Emblem is one of those very strategic, very touch-based games that would work well for especially an iPhone where you could just play 10 minutes of it and then put it down.
Another thing that I think would be interesting to see is if they can some way integrate the camera into the whatever your smartphone's camera is into the games. Like imagine like a Metroid first-person shooter that exists in the world in front of you, but you see it through the screen of your phone. Something like the AR games or Face Raiders on the 3DS, something to that caliber, but obviously, of course, not just the 3D effects that we've come to know.
Maybe a Pokemon Snap, possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. They had the Pokewalker in I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah.
What if they could integrate that into kind of the smartphone, where basically you just walk around and if you see somebody who has the same game, you can battle their Pokemon, and it's just something like that. Because I would love to see something like that. You take a Pokemon on your smartphone and you just walk around and it kind of levels up, maybe pick up an item or two. Something that's small like that. It doesn't have to be a full-fledged Pokemon game. I have, a 3DS for that. But, just something small and possibly could communicate with the console games.
Well, that's interesting because if you were able to make a game for the smartphone where you walk around, you own the Pokemon on your smartphone, it's almost like placing you as the actual main character, and the world that you live in is the game world, and anyone that you encounter is going to battle you that has the same what do you call it? I guess the same game. That's the word I'm looking for. There it is.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. I don't know if you guys remember that the Google Maps April 1st prank last year.
Oh, yes!
You had to find all the different
amazing.
Pokemon. You'd walk around. That'd be a great way to get people outside. And people would go nuts for anything Pokemon.
Definitely, yeah.
And we'd be remiss if we weren't mentioning Mario. There's a lot of games in the Mario franchise. Mm-hmm. So where does Mario fit into touchscreen mobile gaming?
Could see something sort of like either like Mario versus Donkey Kong with tipping stars just coming out, or maybe even like Mario Maker, a smaller version of it. That's something that I could see.
With Mario, definitely see something along the lines of just a small endless runner, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see. I don't want to say a Flappy Bird clone because Flappy Bird was basically half Mario anyway.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like their prize plumber, they're definitely going to have a mobile game with him in it, and I don't see them. I see them doing something very traditional with him, sticking with what they do with Mario.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult because that is a very control-heavy thing. But they have to bring Mario. That's the major. That's the major selling point. That's the major brand image. It'd be like Disney bringing something that wasn't Mickey Mouse.
Right.
They could always bring back stuff like Mario Paint, for instance. I don't know how that would sell. It might sell. Who knows? People will buy anything with Mario on the cover. Yeah. So, moving on.
Speaking of buying things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of buying things, you were leading me into something. This is my third question. Speaking of buying things, they've always rallied against the really weird pricing model of the App Store. The App Store tends to be a race to the bottom, like 99 cents or so. So what do you think Nintendo's pricing model will be? Will it be free to play, free to download? Will it cost a premium? What do you think?
They're going to have to experiment. That's exactly what they did with the Pokemon Puzzle Match 3 thing. It's basically them experimenting. I think they'll experiment with all pricing models, whether it be something free to play, whether it be something that's, $20, whether it's something that's just, a couple dollars there. I feel like once they find something that actually works, they'll stick with it. And my thought is, I think that they'll do something that's like maybe $4.99 or lower. Right. I feel like they're not going to do many free-to-play stuff, but they will charge at least $1 or $2.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say that I don't see them as being a company that would put out any sort of like free-to-play games. They always seem to be a company that likes to charge one certain price and give you all the content that you're ever going to need for that game, aside from like a few things here and there. But I would imagine I would even go all the way up to like $10 on a price cap for a game by them. I just feel like if you're paying $10 for a smartphone game from Nintendo, I have hope that it's going to be good.
Yeah, I would love to see a $10 game from Nintendo, but you never really know with them, and you never really know what people would buy. I wouldn't be surprised if they sent something out that was, I don't know, $3.99 and came with DLC packs almost in the same way that Fire Emblem Awakening had multiple DLC packs for $1 and $2. I don't know. I really am interested to see how that pricing model will go. Oh, and that is our timer. So that ends the first segment of this QuickTime event. We're going to move on to the next one after a short break. You might not even know anything happened. We might play a little bit of music. We'll see what we do with this. Welcome back to QuickTime Event episode 15. Now, this is the Nintendo edition, and there is more Nintendo news than the mobile games. There's also the rumored and confirmed, both at the same time, Nintendo NX. Now, the Nintendo NX was Iwata's way of saying, yes, we're doing the mobile games, but we already have traditional console games, a new traditional console system in development titled Nintendo NX, which is, of course, the project name, not the finished title of it. And that is literally all we know. So we're going to talk 15 minutes about something we have no clue about. Right?
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
All right, but we got a list of questions. So this one is going to be 15 minutes, as I said. And we'll start now. All right. So we got a new confirmation for a Nintendo console. They were early to the gate last time. When is the Nintendo NX going to be coming? Or when is it going to be announced? I'll take an answer to either.
Well, as in terms of when it's going to be announced, I would either say like at least more foundation-based information would be announced at this year's E3, at least to give people like a little bit of like a teaser.
This year's E3, I think that's bold.
Yeah?
I don't think that's going to happen. I would say earliest at max would be 2 E3s from now.
2, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I retract my statement. Yeah, it is a little bit early on.
Sean, when do you think they're going to be saying something?
Yeah, I agree with you, Lou, that it's going to be 2-3 years max, because you don't want to suffocate the Wii U, and it's, you know, the Wii U still has life to it. You know, people forgetting that we are getting The Legend of Zelda this year, we are getting Star Fox this year, and Nintendo still has IP waiting in the wings. You know, there's going to be another Mario game for it. Hopefully there's going to be another Metroid. And then they have, you know, any sort of new IP that they're going to flood out with it. I feel like they're going to announce it 3 years from now, and then 4 years from now, it'll be released.
Yeah, though that does bring to question. They never really said if this was going to be the handheld console or the house console, the main platform console. If this is a replacement for the Wii U or the 3DS, or even if it's a third pillar console, like how the Nintendo DS was when they were currently having the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance. Mm-hmm. So I might move mine even closer, maybe. I would say that if it is something different, if it is a new iteration, that we might start hearing about it next year. But that is when we're hearing about it. When do you think would be the first time, when do you think it would come out? And we'll speak of it as a home console. Preferably, it would be a home console. Everyone wants a new Nintendo console, even though we have a new Nintendo console, and we don't really play it too much.
Yeah, we're always looking forward to the next thing.
And also, like, this could be something like the 2DS, where it's basically like, okay, here's another platform, but it's pretty much like the other platform, just with this. Like, I could see them having a form of the Wii U come out, and they call it a dedicated, you know, platformer, the NX, and it could be just a Wii U. It doesn't play Wii games, and it doesn't have the gamepad with it. You know, it could be something like that.
Or maybe it is just the gamepad, and you can download games to it to take with you.
Or it could be an upgrade like the new Nintendo 3DS, where it could just work with new games and Wii U games.
Oh god, if they call it that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but how long? Yeah, how long can you keep boosting the new title?
Yeah. I don't think it's that. We're getting off topic here.
Yeah, we are.
I totally think that when they're talking about this, they're talking about something completely new down the line. This is the next generation, and they're letting us know. But they have a habit, at least within the past few console generations, of being a little gimmicky. Now, some of these gimmicks do work, and some of these gimmicks do not. The analog stick, for instance, absolutely worked. The GameCube controller, probably some of, that's probably the best controller out there, at least for me and for a lot of other gamers. Though you might say the gimmick for the GameCube was the lunch pail handle. The Wii had motion controls, and the Wii U has the gamepad. The question is, after that long-winded explanation, will there be a gimmick, and what will it be, if there is one?
Yes, there will be. And one, I don't want to put my money on any sort of real gimmick at the moment, because Nintendo has been one to just innovate, go out there and just be wild. Like they did that with the whole motion control thing. Not many people really wanted to get into it. With the gamepad, sure, the PS4 and the Vita kind of had that, but Nintendo really kind of perfected that with the gamepad and the TV. So I see them doing something that we just don't expect. That's just completely off the wall. But if I'm going to say anything, I'm going to say it's communication with the 3DS and the Wii U. It's going to be kind of like a middleman.
Interesting. I like that idea of a middleman console. What do you think, Bill?
I would like them to see. I would like to see them sort of break away from a gimmick. Although, I mean, I think it's just fated that they will have one, since they're going to be branching out so much with the mobile games has been announced. I think maybe going a little bit like more back to the roots and just making it just controller based buttons and analog sticks. That's really all you need to play a game. For me anyway. I know a lot of people are different, but I think in terms of I know that they're kind of developing some ideas with. I think they have like that sleep monitor thing that they were looking into. Like it tracks like you're sleeping throughout the night. So maybe they're kind of trying to tap into the technology of wearables. Something that you can take with you, something that like maybe, I mean, that's kind of more like a feature.
Well, yeah, they did
console,
say,
but
they did say they were going to bring in quality of life, and that was going to be a separate product. But certainly, the interaction between quality of life and this new console can be the gimmick.
Yeah, it could be.
That could be really good. I'm going to say mine, and fans of Mong Podcast have already heard this, but I want to hear your guys' opinions on this. Number one. A gimmick that they might do, and they may not do, is virtual reality. Everyone's getting on the bandwagon for that. Mm-hmm. However, Nintendo was the first one to get on the bandwagon, and it nosedived.
Yeah.
However, that is the immediate gimmick right now, and that is the one that not only Sony, but Microsoft is putting their chips in, with Morpheus and the... I don't know what the other one's called. HoloLens? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. The second gimmick that they might do is that fusion console idea, where it is both the mobile system and the home system, where people will be able to like plug it in and play their mobile games on the TV. The mobile games, of course, will be a better resolution, something up-resed from maybe even the Vita standards, and it would look beautiful on a TV. And it would look beautiful on the device, and it's an all-in-one purchase. So what do you guys think?
No, I would like to see something like that. I know that they just started tapping into the cross-buy things, or with Tipping Stars, I believe it was, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could see them doing like a transfer that can be played between any platform. But I feel like announcing something this early, it's got to be something much bigger than just like the middleman.
Right.
I mean, I could totally see them doing something kind of like what Bill said earlier. Just having the gamepad itself be the next console, give it, put a little more hardware into it to where it can be standalone. And then you can just plug it up to the Wii U, and then you can, play the full game on there. As for the whole virtual reality thing, I doubt Nintendo's going to do that. One, because they're not really one for bandwagoning. I don't like... You never think of Nintendo as in, bandwagoning. I mean, they didn't even do a disc-based system until the GameCube, and they really didn't do anything with, actual CDs like we use all the time until the Wii.
Right.
So I think that they're just going to let the whole VR race run its course, and they're going to do something completely different. And I think the whole connection between mobile and console gaming is what they're going for, especially since they like to connect their Nintendo Directs together. This would be that connection.
Right. All right. So we're talking about gimmicks, and gimmicks are gimmicks, and we can say we want them, we can say we don't. But what about just main features? If we're talking about an upgrade from the Wii U, what is the Wii U lacking that you want to see in the NX, just feature-wise?
A good online system.
Something
that does not lag, something that actually works. A friend system where you can actually see when your friends are online and join the game that's in process, because I have not been able to do that yet, either with a Wii U.
Compared to, like, the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, where you can just jump right in.
Right.
Same.
And while we're on the terms of the other console giants out there, an achievement system. That really adds just a completely new element to the game, I believe.
Right. I like the idea that you brought up earlier, and everyone's been talking about, of that unified system between, which they kind of have with Nintendo Network, but the unified purchase system, which will allow for cross-play and cross-buy, and hopefully getting virtual console games and keeping virtual console games, because it's a pain to rebuy those.
Yeah.
Totally. I think that I've said all that I need to say. Really, I just would like to see where Nintendo goes with this. If they, do have something where, better communication with the 3DS and the Wii U is completely possible. Because, if I'm not mistaken, they have two completely different types of friend systems.
I don't think so. I think they... Oh, actually. Yeah, they might use different friend systems.
Because with the Wii U, it's the Nintendo ID. With the 3DS, it's the whole friend code.
Yeah, the friend codes, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't even realize, because all of my friends on the Wii U are also my 3DS friends, so I wouldn't even know.
Right.
Another thing. I want GameCube games. Nintendo, give me GameCube games. Jesus, that is a great generation, and if I can't play Thousand Year Door on this next generation, I'm going to strangle a Pokemon, a Pikmin, something.
And going further with that, give us native GameCube controller support. You had almost the perfect controller, and then you decided, we're just going to make these fancy smanchy other stuff, and the people want GameCube controllers. Give us GameCube controller support.
I'd be okay with the Wii U GamerPad Pro, or whatever they call it. Not GamerPad, whatever it's called.
The Pro controller.
Yeah, the Pro controller. That one. That one's a great controller, I think. It's certainly not a GameCube controller, but if they were to stick with it and make it its main, the main controller, I could get used to it if it weren't so generic.
Yeah, definitely.
I just want button controls, and on a normal-sized controller. Yeah. All right. We got another question. So they've told us Nintendo NX, but that is, of course, the code name.
Yeah, the project name.
The project name.
Working title. Working title.
What will the final name of Nintendo NX be? And if any of us get this right, I will buy you a pizza. We will remember this, and I'm going to buy you pizza, because no one's going to get this right. I could probably wage a lot higher, because they have the weirdest naming conventions, because they're Nintendo, and they could do that. In fact, if you said New Wii U, you'd probably have a better chance. But what do you think, Bill?
It's either... I don't know. There's Wii U 2, or something like a Wii-Wa or something. Something that has to do with the two eyes.
Wii U and me. No.
Well, maybe. I mean, if they're kind of going into wearables at some point, then maybe Wii U and me.
All right. What about you, Shawn?
I'm just if they keep Nintendo NX, that would be actually the best name they could have given the console, because, heck, it's new. So, seeing that, I would like to see kind of a middleman between the Wii U and the 3DS. I would like to see it, because it's technically the third iteration of the Wii. I would like to see the Wii 3DS.
Interesting. I like the NX. I like the X in there. I'm going to say, for my first guess, Nintendo Experience. Because they do love just putting Nintendo followed by something else. Nintendo 64. Nintendo Land. They love the Nintendo something. And I think if they're putting the X there, it's got to be X for a reason. With that said, I'd also love for there to be a Super Nintendo callback or something.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be... I mean, it could be Experience, but I think it would be something like EXP or something. Because they're known for fairly, short titles. Nintendo 64, N64. Wii U... They're known for the shorter names.
Right, but they definitely have to set itself apart, especially after the big drama that happened with the Wii U, where consumers had no clue what was happening. I guarantee you, consumers are just as equally confused about the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL, and that is the end. So, we're going to cut that off here. thank you again, Shawn and Bill, for being on with me.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so we're going to go into the closing segment. Our schedule is we're from now on going to record on Thursdays and hopefully release by Friday, maybe Saturday. We'll see how my schedule is tomorrow, and that'll be the new day permanently. You can email us if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you like what we said, if you hate what we said, if you have any questions you want us to talk about. Email us at contact.mong@gmail.com. You can find our Mong Twitter account at mong.com. That's all spelled out, mong.dot.com. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/mongnetwork and at twitch.twitch.tv/mongplays. You can also find us on Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. We're pretty easy to find. We're middle of nowhere gaming. I don't know the URLs, and you don't want to hear them. Last but not least, you can check out our website, middleofnowheregaming.com, for all our latest editorials, news, and reviews. And we are mostly all on Twitter. I'm not. No, I am. I keep forgetting I have a Twitter. I don't have an Instagram. My Twitter, of course, is Lou Cantaldi. Bill, do you have a Twitter?
I do not.
Bill doesn't have a Twitter. Shawn, what's your Twitter?
My Twitter is Little Big Ham, 2 M's.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being on, and thank you for listening, everyone. Mong!
Bong!
Mong!
Mong.